Hi guys, welcome to my study compass. In this video, I'll be walking you through the past paper Math P2 Variant 2 October-November 2020. Let's get started. Write down 200,017 in figures. This is 200,017 in figures. You can confirm this value by typing 200,000 plus 17 on your calculator. Insert one pair of brackets to make this calculation correct. To make the expression on the left-hand side equal to 9, we put a pair of brackets around 5 minus 3. You can type this expression with the brackets around 5 minus 3 on your calculator to confirm. You should get 9. Solve the equation. 6 minus 2x equals 3x. When we group like terms, this is what we get. 3x plus 2x is 5x. When we divide both sides by 5, we get x equals 6 over 5 or 1.2 in decimal. The diagram shows a triangle drawn between a pair of parallel lines. Find the value of x and the value of y. Angles on a straight line add up to 180 degrees. So when we subtract 140 degrees from 180 degrees, we get this angle as 40 degrees. And when we subtract 120 degrees from 180 degrees, we get this angle as 60 degrees. These two angles are alternate angles. Alternate angles are equal, which means x is 60 degrees. Angles in a triangle add up to 180 degrees. So we have y plus 40 plus 60 equals 180. When we make y the subject, we get 80 degrees. Increase 42 by 16%. To increase 42 by 16%, all we need to do is find 1/16% of 42, which is equal to 48.72. Factorize completely. 4 minus 8x. The common factor for the two terms is 4. So when we factor 4 out, we are left with 1 minus 2x. The area of triangle ABC is 27 centimeters squared and AB is 6 centimeters. Calculate the value of h. One of the formulae for the area of a triangle is half base times perpendicular height. In this case, we need to find the perpendicular height of the triangle. So we make h the subject of the formula, which gives us h equals 2a divided by b. A is 27 centimeters squared and b is 6 centimeters. This gives us the height as 9 centimeters. Calculate the size of one interior angle of a regular polygon with 40 sides. This is the formula for the size of an interior angle in a regular polygon, where n is the number of sides. In this case, n equals 40. So when we substitute n equals 40 into the formula, this is what we have. When we type this into the calculator, we get 171 degrees. Solve the simultaneous equations. 2x plus y equals 7. 3x minus y equals 8. We have plus y in equation 1 and we have minus y in equation 2. And so we can easily eliminate the variable y by adding equation 1 to equation 2. This gives us 2x plus 3x equals 7 plus 8. 2x plus 3x is 5x and 7 plus 8 is 15. When we divide both sides of the equation by 5, we get x equals 3. We can find the value of y by substituting x equals 3 into either equation 1 or equation 2. If we pick equation 1, we have 2 times 3 plus y equals 7. When we make y the subject, we get y equals 1. Without using a calculator, work out 5 over 6 divided by 1 over 3. You must show all your working and give your answer as a fraction in its simplest form. In the first step, we convert the mixed fraction 1 over 3 into an improper fraction. And so we have 3 times 1, which is 3, plus 1, which is 4, divided by 3. In the next step, we have 5 over 6, then we replace the division sign with a multiplication sign, and then we bring in the reciprocal of 4 over 3, which is 3 over 4. 3 goes into itself once and goes into 6 2 times. And so for the numerator, we have 5 times 1 giving us 5, and for the denominator, we have 2 times 4 giving us 8. And so our final answer here is 5 over 8. Simplify. 2x squared times 5x raised to the power 5. We multiply the constant terms 2 and 5. When the x terms are multiplied, their powers add, giving us x raised to the power 2 plus 5. 2 times 5 is 10. 2 plus 5 is 7. And so our final answer here is 10x raised to the power 7. Alex and Chris share sweets in the ratio Alex is to Chris equals 7 is to 3. Alex receives 20 more sweets than Chris. Work out the number of sweets Chris receives. The ratio between Alex and Chris is 7 is to 3. We've been told that Alex receives 20 more sweets than Chris. We can also get the difference in their ratio share by subtracting 3 from 7, giving us 4. We want to find the number of sweets Chris receives, so let's represent that by x. From this, we can set up an equation for x, which gives us x equals 3 over 4 times 20. This gives us 15. The length of one side of a rectangle is 12 centimeters. The length of the diagonal of the rectangle is 13 centimeters. Calculate the area of the rectangle. The formula for finding the area of a rectangle is length times width. We've been given the length as 12 centimeters, but we've not been given the width. What we've been given is the length of the diagonal of the rectangle, which is 13 centimeters. Each of the interior angles in a rectangle is 90 degrees, so we can find the width by applying the Pythagoras theorem. This gives us 13 squared equals 12 squared plus w squared. When we make w the subject, this is what we get. This gives us the width as 5 centimeters. And so for the area of the rectangle, we have 12 times 5 centimeters squared, which is equal to 60 centimeters squared. Work out 3 times 10 raised to the power 199 plus 2 times 10 raised to the power 201. Give your answer in standard form. To add these two numbers in standard form, we need to get their powers of 10 to be equal. If we want to rewrite 3 times 10 raised to the power 199 to have a power of 201, then we multiply it by 10 raised to the power 2. This gives us 10 raised to the power 199 plus 2, which is 10 raised to the power 201. Since we've multiplied by 10 raised to the power 2, we need to also divide 3 by 10 raised to the power 2 to balance the expression. This means we shift the decimal point at the end of 3 2 times to the left. This gives us 0.03 times 10 raised to the power 201. Now we can add the 2 to give us 0.03 plus 2 times 10 raised to the power 201. 0.03 plus 2 is 2.03. 2.03 is between 0 and 10, so we can leave our final answer as 2.03 times 10 raised to the power 201. Calculate the area of this sector of a circle. The formula for the area of a sector is theta over 360 degrees times pi r squared. In this case, we've been given theta as 60 degrees and the radius is 7.5 centimeters. When we type this into the calculator, we get 29.5 centimeters squared, rounded to 3 significant figures. The selling price of a shirt is $26.50. This includes a tax of 6%. Calculate the price of the shirt before the tax was added. $26.50 includes the cost of the tax, which is at 6%. This means 106% of the original price equals $26.50. When we make the original price the subject of the equation, we get $25. The diagram shows the speed time graph for the first 40 seconds of a cycle ride. Find the acceleration between 20 and 40 seconds. The acceleration will be the gradient of the graph from t equals 20 to t equals 40. This gives us the acceleration as 4 minus 2 meters per second divided by 40 minus 20 seconds. When we type this into the calculator, we get 0.1 meters per second squared. Find the total distance traveled. The total distance traveled is the area under the speed time graph. The area under this speed time graph is a complex shape, but we can split it into smaller shapes. There are multiple ways to split this graph. Either way, we arrive at the same result. In this case, we have D1, D2, and D3. D1 is in the shape of a triangle. And so we have half times 10 times 2, which is equal to 10. D2 is a rectangle, so we have 10 times 2, which is 20. D3 is a trapezium, so we have half of 2 plus 4 times 20, which is 60. And so for the total distance traveled, we have 10 meters plus 20 meters plus 60 meters, which is equal to 90 meters. The sides of an isosceles triangle are measured correct to the nearest millimeter. One side has a length of 8.2 centimeters and another has a length of 9.4 centimeters. Find the largest possible value of the perimeter of this triangle. The first thing to note is that an isosceles triangle has two of its side lengths to be equal. In this case, we don't know if that is L1, which is 8.2 centimeters, or L2, which is 9.4 centimeters. But since we want to find the largest possible perimeter of the triangle, we want the third length to be the same as L2, which is longer than L1. This is why we multiply L2 by 2. In addition, the upper bound of the perimeter will be equal to the upper bound of the side lengths of the triangle. Since the side lengths are measured correct to the nearest millimeter, which is the same as 0.1 centimeters, then the upper bound of L1 will be 8.2 plus 0.1 centimeters divided by 2, and the upper bound of L2 will be 9.4 plus 0.1 centimeters divided by 2. When we type this into the calculator, we get 27.15 centimeters. Calculate the value of x. To get the value of x, we apply the sine rule. This gives us sine x divided by 8 centimeters equals sine 100 degrees divided by 9 centimeters. When we make x the subject of the equation, this is what we get. When we type this into the calculator, we get x equals 61.1 degrees rounded to one decimal place. Calculate the area of the triangle. We can use the formula half AB sine theta, where theta is the angle between the lengths A and B. In this case, we know two side lengths of the triangle, which are 8 centimeters and 9 centimeters, but we've not been given the angle between these two lengths. We can find this angle by subtracting the sum of 100 degrees and 61.1 degrees from 180 degrees. This gives us 18.9 degrees. And so for the area of the triangle, we have half of 8 times 9 times sine 18.9 degrees. When we type this into the calculator, we get 11.7 centimeters squared, rounded to 3 significant figures. A model of a statue has a height of 4 centimeters. The volume of the model is 12 centimeters cubed. The volume of the statue is 40,500 centimeters cubed. Calculate the height of the statue. Since we are dealing with a model and its actual shape, we know we need to apply our knowledge of similar shapes. To get the height of the statue, we can set up our equation like this. The volume of the statue divided by the volume of the model equals the height of the statue divided by the height of the model. Since we are dealing with volume, we need to cube the height of the statue and the model. When we make the height of the statue, which is hs, the subject of the equation, this is what we get. Vs is the volume of the statue, and that is 40,500 centimeters cubed. Vm is the volume of the model, which is 12 centimeters cubed. And hm is the height of the model, which is 4 centimeters. When we type this into the calculator, we get the height of the statue as 60 centimeters. Differentiate 6 plus 4x minus x squared. When we differentiate a constant, which in this case is 6, we get 0. When we differentiate 4x, the power of x, which is 1, multiplies the coefficient, which is 4, to give us 4. Then we subtract 1 from the power to give us x raised to the power 0. X raised to the power 0 is 1, so we are left with 4. When we differentiate negative x squared, the power, which is 2, multiplies the coefficient, which is negative 1, to give us negative 2. Then we subtract 1 from the power to give us x raised to the power 1. And so our final answer here is 4 minus 2x. Find the coordinates of the turning point of the graph of y equals 6 plus 4x minus x squared. At the turning point of a graph, dy dx equals 0. We already found dy dx in the previous question as 4 minus 2x, and so when we equate it to 0, we get x equals 2, which is the x coordinate of the turning point. To get the corresponding y coordinate, we substitute x equals 2 into the equation of the graph. This gives us 6 plus 4 times 2 minus 2 squared. When we type this into the calculator, we get y equals 10. And so the coordinates of the turning point are 2, 10. The diagram shows a triangle OAB and a straight line OAC. OA is to OC equals 2:5, and M is the midpoint of AB. OA is A and OB is B. Find in terms of A and B in its simplest form, AB. AB is equal to AO plus OB. AO is negative A and OB is B. And so our final answer here is negative A plus B. Find MC. MC is equal to MA plus AC. MA is half of BA. Since we are moving from M to A, we can only say MA is half of B to A, which is in the same direction, and not A to B, which is in the opposite direction. We found AB in the previous question as negative A plus B. BA is the negative of AB, so that will be A minus B. From the given ratio that OA is to OC is 2:5, we can can say that OA is to AC is 2 is to 3. This is 3 because OC is 5 and OA is 2. So 5 minus 2 gives us AC as 3. And so if OA is A, then AC is 3 over 2A. When we expand the brackets and group like terms, we get MC as 2A minus half B. Write as a single fraction in its simplest form. 2 minus 2x minus 1 divided by x plus 1. The denominator for 2 is 1. The LCM in this case will be x plus 1. 1 into x plus 1 is x plus 1. Multiplied by 2 gives us 2 times x plus 1 minus x plus 1 goes into x plus 1 one time. 1 times 2x minus 1 is 2x minus 1. When we expand the brackets, 2 times x is 2x. 2 times 1 is 2. Negative 1 times 2x is negative 2x. And negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1. 2x minus 2x is 0. 2 plus 1 is 3. And so our final answer here is 3 over x plus 1. A line from the point 2, 3 is perpendicular to the line y equals 1 over 3x plus 1. The two lines meet at the point P. Find the coordinates of P. First, we need to find the equation of the perpendicular line. Since the line is perpendicular to y equals 1 over 3x plus 1, then the product of their gradients must be equal to negative 1. The gradient of y equals 1 over 3x plus 1 is 1 over 3. So we have m times 1 over 3 equals negative 1. This gives us the gradient of the line as negative 3. Since we know one set of coordinates on the line, we put these into the equation to get the value of c. This gives us 3 equals negative 3 times 2 plus c. When we make c the subject, we have c equals 9. Hence, the equation of the line is y equals negative 3x plus 9. To get the coordinates of P, which is the intersection point of the lines, we need to solve the equations of the two lines simultaneously. When we substitute y equals negative 3x plus 9 into y equals 1 over 3x plus 1, this is what we get. When we group like terms, we have 3x plus 1 over 3x giving us 10 over 3x and 9 minus 1 giving us 8. When we multiply both sides of the equation by 3 over 10, we get x equals 2.4. Now that we have the x coordinate of point P, we can substitute it into any of the equations to find the corresponding y coordinate. If we substitute x equals 2.4 into y equals negative 3x plus 9, this is what we get. When we type this into the calculator, we get 1.8. And so the coordinates of point P are 2.4, 1.8. Solve the equation tan x equals 2 for x is greater than and equal to 0 degrees and less than and equal to 360 degrees. To solve this equation, we first need to find the reference, which we have represented as alpha, to help us find all the possible solutions for x in the given range. Alpha is equal to tan inverse of the positive value of tan x, which is 2. Tan inverse of 2 is equal to 63.4 degrees rounded to one decimal place. Now we need to draw the quadrants. Since the value of tan x, which is 2, is positive, the angle alpha needs to be in the quadrants where tan is positive. The angle alpha is measured from the horizontal axis in each of the quadrants. When we go round the quadrant the first time, we get the first value of x as alpha, which is 63.4 degrees. When we go round the quadrant the second time, we get the second value of x as 180 degrees plus the angle of alpha, which gives us 243.4 degrees. Simplify. Ux minus 2u minus x plus 2 divided by u squared minus 1. For the numerator, we can put like terms together to give us ux minus x minus 2u plus 2. And for the denominator, u squared minus 1 can be written as a difference of 2 squares. In the numerator, when we factor out x for the first two terms, we are left with u minus 1. And for the final two terms, when we factor out negative 2, we are left with u minus 1. When we apply the factorization for the difference of two squares to the denominator, we get u plus 1 times u minus 1. We can rewrite the numerator as x minus 2 times u minus 1. U minus 1 cancels out, and so our final answer becomes x minus 2 over u plus 1. Thank you for watching. I hope you found this video useful. See you in the next video. Bye guys.